So this is Conspiracy Broadcasting Network, where I am a target of a conspiracy that has been ongoing for years, and it was going on covertly. Now, for the past decade of my life, I've been living this overt um, life of being a target, where overtly they continue to stalk. It's a campaign of noise, a campaign of sabotage, a campaign of subversion. And as you can see on my title, we are going to look at the CIA's field manual of sabotage. Um, this is a vlog where I display unconstitutional violations, unconstitutional and infringements, basically, of my rights, of my privileges. Um, it's infringements of my privacy, which is implied in the amendments. It is lots of local and state violations regarding harassment, regarding cyber stalking, regarding stalking, domestic violence, lots of personal injury, from physical personal injury, financial personal injury. You name it, I basically have a laundry list of illegal activity that I have unfortunately had to encounter. So with that being said, let's just get into this particular video, because I've known about this manual for a little over a year now, and I knew all the terms such as gaslighting. I was informed that it was a COINTELPRO. This is all stuff that should have been extinguished back in the 60s, but you could already tell, just if you haven't heard, for example, that all these drones in New Jersey, okay, just so you know, Trump has released information on their reports, okay? And so now the FAA, if you're keeping up with it, had made sure to ban and made sure to enforce violations, okay, of this drone activity, and it ceased. And then all of a sudden, the drones came back when they released the ban. And the report that Trump put out was that now the FAA was doing research. And they couldn't tell you that before, but apparently it's just the FAA doing research. So that's what all these drones are doing in New Jersey. Long story short, we're going to take a look with a screen share on a field manual of sabotage. Now, back when I was talking in vlog 72, I recall I talked about Edward Snowden. If you do your research and you're into this conspiracy theory type stuff, which I don't really care if you are or not, but I'm just referencing the type of psychological and the manipulation and the sabotage, the subversion, all the tricks and all the tactics psychologically that you can infringe on someone's life. These projects are all defined in Wikipedia. You have projects basically like MK Ultra, Project Prism, the committee report that Edward Snowden highlighted. There's quite a bit of dubious things that people are unaware of. President Nixon hacking into the mental and psychiatric files of his opposing candidate member. There's just a lot, and even with our new JFK files, we're finding that it is indeed true. There was multiple shooters. Oswald was, for what we know, may or may not have been involved, but we do know that there's likely been multiple shooters. Same thing with Martin Luther King. The president authorized wiretapping, of his stuff. So this whole cyber stalking thing is, imagine that's what it was back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. It's the year 2025, and there's these intelligence communities out there. Again, I said it in the last vlog, that are separate from the FBI separate. They all do their own thing, right? And some of them don't want others knowing what they're doing, right? And they don't abide by laws. They don't abide by laws. That doesn't mean anything to them. They're all about trying to manipulate circumstance and foresee the future. And there's lots of organizations that can do, from my understanding, that particular type of futuristic, foresight and foreshadowing. CIA, FBI has been known for years, dealing with Fidel Castro and stuff like that. These organizations can be upwards of 20 years in the future, and there's evidence the CIA knows what the world will succumb to. So it's like when we're talking about the Conspiracy Broadcasting Network that I've displayed here on my channel, it's like they have technology that can go through house walls, and it's just like there's technologies out there that is basically 20 plus years ahead, and they don't want anyone to know about it, but they're going to use it anyways, right? It's just like it's all technology, right? Same thing with surveillance and the way Google is constantly evolving, right? Back in the day, if you realize that Google just wants everything, they want to know everything about you and survey everything about you. This is why your accounts, you'll notice how over the past decade, if you were a 90s kid like me, I was born in the late 80s, but if you're a 90s kid like me and 2000s kid, we didn't have on our computers these little apps and these little software perks that congeal and synchronize everything of our personal data, synchronize our personal contacts, synchronize our utilities, synchronize everything. Now, all of a sudden, you notice that every Windows generation that has evolved has gotten into a new format of synchronizing everything into one nice little portfolio, right? One little nice app. Oh, here's OneDrive. We can just take all of your devices and all of your information and put it in one convenient file so you don't have to go anywhere and look for everything. Okay. And then Snowden comes out and it's like, look, this is like what they want. They want to be able to pinpoint everything you do and then throw advertisements and all kinds of stuff all over your social media. And now we have control of everything you can do and all of this stuff. So, off tangent. CIA field manual. If you think you know the world, you don't know it until you've read the manual. Okay. So we're going to do a screen share. And this last vlog was exclusively about my occupational sabotage and subversion. And I'm going to pull up my page here, see if I can get it. Download. Okay. Let's see here. Share. CIA. All right. So this is the CIA's simple sabotage. Okay. This was established in the 40s. So if you think for a second that this is something of Neanderthal or archaic nature, that this is just what they did back in the day because of segregation and the war and all that other stuff. A lot of it has come from war type, maritime, art of war, Shinzu type stuff. But the thing about it is this is happening in my life and has happened for a number of years. And this simple sabotage is, I'm just going to do some basic reading, and then we're going to jump straight to some sections that I personally incurred in the workplace setting. And I've seen this type of stuff. Okay. And basically what this is about, this is stating that we're incorporating saboteurs. That's what this manual is talking about. It's about, as you can start reading here, it's about incorporating the community. It's about incorporating a crowd. It's about incorporating the populace. Okay. That's what the simple sabotage, okay, is initially talking about. And it's this deceitful, this almost a slick, foxy way of manipulating environment, okay, in order to create distress, in order to create disorganization, or what my favorite term would be called is entropy, okay, which is disorganization. Okay. In this particular paragraph C, it says, where destruction is involved, weapons of the citizen saboteur are salt, nails, candles, pebbles, thread, or any other materials he might normally be expected to possess as a householder or as a worker in his particular occupation. His arsenal is the kitchen shelf, the trash pile, his own usual kit of tools and supplies. The targets of his sabotage are usually objects to which he has normal and inconspicuous access in every day. This is about taking the objects around you, and this is where ambient abuse by proxy is developing. This is about you going into your workplace, you coming home, you going into the grocery store. Remember where I keep talking about this? This is a common denominator in my conversations, where they're always keeping tabs on what I purchase in the grocery store, right? I said this time and time again, video over video over video, where they survey and they make sure that they keep tracks on what I habitually purchase. And then when I go and make purchases and routine purchases, because I'm usually an organic eater, I don't buy a lot of preservative bullshit. So that really narrows down where the hell I'm going to go in a grocery store. They know I'm coming because they're using this in real time. And as I navigate to and from those areas, they have staged objects, okay, around my social space and in proximity of the things that I'm going to purchase and along the way, either to harass you, either to instigate or provoke. And their favorite is to cause humility, right? Cracked, broken items, right? So you grab it, but it was the seal might be broken on it. Okay. You go and grab something and they place a cap beside it, or they placed another item beside it. So when you grab what you need, something falls off the shelf, right? Something falls off the shelf when you grab it. Okay. Because why? Because they use the technology. They know you're going where you're going. And now they can just implement this particular simple sabotage tactic. Okay. This talks about possible effects. This talks about motivating the saboteur. Okay. Encouraging destructiveness. Okay. Encouraging. Let's read this. It says, it should be pointed out to the saboteur where the circumstances are suitable that he is acting in self-defense against the enemy or retaliating against the enemy for acts of destruction. A reasonable amount of humor in the presentation or suggestion is simple sabotage will relax tension of fear. So basically, this is also a way to manipulate. This is the narcissistic conversation you're going to have when these people start doing this shit to you, and you're saying, man, that's kind of weird. What's going on? And they're going to laugh and say, man, you're crazy. Dude, you're tripping. Go see somebody. Dude, you're tripping. Go on some medications. Dude, I have no clue what you're talking about. You're crazy. What? Right? The reactions. What? Huh? What? Right? This is literally telling and showing the saboteurs, the crowds of people, how to act and how to deflect against their actions when they're confronted. Just like what happened in Shoals, right? Just like what happened in Shoals. I told that supervisor, especially the operations, two things, right? One, you need to put the seatbelts on the patient. Two, you need to abide by hospital policy rules regarding how to park that ambulance. You heard what Franklin had to say. You heard how he approached, and he deflected, right? He deflected, saying about how he doesn't wear the seatbelt and how it's important that he can walk around the ambulance. It had nothing to do. I never said a thing about him. I said the patient. Okay. Talking to another medic of 15 years, I know why you're not wearing a seatbelt, Franklin. I know why. It's obvious. Just like any other provider will occasionally have to unbuckle themselves. But he came back with this erroneous, off-the-wall, deflective response in order to deflect the error, and it just goes to show. Okay, this is what we're talking about. Okay, to some extent. Okay, this is also free. So if you're having difficulty seeing it, which I really don't give a damn, but what I'm saying is that this is out there, and you can just type in Field Manual of Simple Sabotage by the CIA. This was published in 1940s. Okay, in the 1940s, it talks about how they would destroy certain, resources of the enemy. It talks about how they would implement crowds of people, including the janitor. The janitor would go out and create problems with the water system, or somebody will create problem with the oven, or someone will create a problem with the electricity, or somebody will create a problem in the workplace setting. And this goes on with managers, okay, in your business practice. Managers are told to give praise to the people who are slouches, give praise to the people who are unprofessional, give praise to the people who do a poor job, and then abuse the people who are doing it right. This is in the Field Manual of Sabotage. I have to get this off my chest, but I don't want to waste any more time. But because I was on a tangent about today's mail in vlog 73, I believe, I felt like I had to get this off my chest because I did talk about the occupational distress and sabotage that I have incurred well over a decade, but also in many other aspects of life, especially around the family. Matter of fact, one of those times was I was living with my grandparents in Illinois, and I took my bow to a place called Dunn's, and we was getting restrung, and there was a razor that he was using, one of the guys, and he nicked the cable. And it blatantly, the whole bow is sitting there. And you can see that the cable has been nicked by this fucking razor. I asked him, I said, well, we need to fix that, right? No, it's fine. Well, guess what? About a year and a half later, 2 years later, when I had it stored, the bow blew up. And there's a bunch of stories like this. You know why there's such an inundation of problems in my life? Right here. You're reading it.